Hello, my true crime buddies. Welcome to another episode of my true crime. Thank you so much for joining me on my true crime journey. I hope you're enjoying the month of October, where I'm doing quite a few more. I've left details in for you guys because it is October. We are coming up to Halloween, so I figured that for this month at least I could get away with it. Today's episode is back in 1957, so times are very different. I am not judgmental in any way, whether your skin colour differs from mine, whether your sexuality differs from mine. We're all human, we all deserve to be respected. But way back in 1957, it was very frowned upon, and I was watching Downton Abbey, and I binge watched the whole series. I have seen it before. And then shortly after that, someone put on Facebook one of these random posts. Oh, the last TV show you watched would basically host your wedding. I need a boyfriend first, but okay. So I said, I'm going to Downton Abbey. Quite happy with that. And someone said, you're in good hands. And I said, I just want to hug Barrow. And that's all I said. So, yeah. Anyway, that was not my true crime. We are in America, in specifically Los Angeles, I believe. So, on Halloween night in 1957, Los Angeles hairstylist Peter Fabiano walked down the stairs of his valley home to greet a belated trick-or-treater. It was late, around 11 p.m, and Peter had already got into bed with his wife Betty, and it was too late for children to be knocking. Nevertheless, the 35-year-old grabbed the bowl of remaining sweet treats and answered the door. A second later, Betty heard a deep voice and a loud pop that also woke up her daughter Judy. At the front door, she found her husband bleeding out in a pool of his own blood. Judy ran to her police officer neighbour's home, who called in the Valley Police Department. Peter was taken to Sun Valley Hospital, where he was pronounced dead from the gunshot to his chest. The only witness to the shooting was a teenager who saw a car speed away from the neighbourhood. There were no gun shells left at the scene, and nothing had been taken from the house, despite the family owning 2 successful hair and beauty shops. Peter's shooting had the characteristics of a gang hit, but the only record the hairstylist had was for a charge of bookmaking in 1948. He had no connection to any crime syndicate. That lead was quickly terminated. Betty and Peter met in the 1940s, when Betty was already divorced from her first husband and was a single mother of 2. The pair began their marriage in New York and had moved to LA the year prior to Peter's death. When Betty told the police her account of Halloween night, she explained that she thought there was 2 people at the front door, 2 men, with one pretending to be a woman. When asked if Peter had any enemies, she gave them one name: Joan Rabel. Joan Rabel was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1917. She had a lucrative career as a writer and photographer. In 1957, she arrived at Peter Fabiano's salon looking for work after her divorce. Joan and Betty became firm friends, and she was welcomed into the Fabiano family. When Peter and Betty began having problems in their marriage, Betty moved in with Joan. Peter became threatened by the closeness of the 2 women, and the Los Angeles Times described the pair's relationship as, quote, abnormal, which for the 1950s was actually code for homosexual. Betty eventually decided that her marriage to Peter was worth saving, and she told Peter about the affair she had been having with Joan. The couple reconciled, and Betty agreed not to see Joan again. The same year, in 1957, Joan met Goldine Pizar, a medical secretary. The pair became fast friends and spent their free time together drinking coffee and gossiping. It's also reported that Goldine was also gay and had spent her life suppressing her feelings, and had married Herbert Crone, a naval pharmacist who she had recently divorced. It was during these coffee mornings with her new friend that Joan spoke to her about evil Peter, her employer. Joan was heartbroken and angry that Betty went back to her husband, and she wanted revenge on the man. Joan began to seduce Goldine as she had Betty, and eventually convinced Goldine to kill Peter for her. Quote, I had no motive personally. Whatever motive I had was to please Joan. I was always easily influenced. I have been impressionable and always trusting. Goldine bought a .38 Smith & Wesson from a shop in Pasadena under the guise of wanting the weapon for personal protection. Then she waited outside the Fabiano's home on Halloween night in a car that Joan borrowed from a friend. They waited until all the lights in the house went out. Then Goldine approached the home in a superhero eye mask and committed the murder. Goldine disposed of the gun in a storage locker in the Los Angeles branch of Bullock department store. An anonymous tip led detectives to the gun and in turn to Goldine's door 2 weeks later. She was arrested in her Hollywood home, where she told police, quote, it's a relief to get it off my mind. Joan was eventually arrested, and the 2 women went through a number of examinations with psychiatrists, as the court believed that homosexuality may have made them unfit to stand trial, which, reading that in modern day, is outrageous. It really is. The mere fact that they think that this is some kind of mental illness or something, I don't understand it. I don't think I ever will, but it's really bad. One of the psychiatrists wrote about Goldine, quote, "The only thought she had was that she had saved her friend Joan Mabel from an evil person." Both women pleaded not guilty, but eventually changed their plea. Goldine pleaded insanity and claimed she was just easily influenced. Joan refused to comment throughout the hearing and was reported to be stony-faced and wore a constant strange smile during the trial. They were both eventually charged with second-degree murder and were sentenced to 5 years to life in prison. Goldine was released and stayed in Los Angeles. She died in 1998 when she was 83. There's little information about Joan Mabel, but it is assumed that she was released from prison around the same time as Goldine. Betty Fabiano sold the beauty businesses. She died in 1999 in Palm Desert, California. It is unknown if she had a hand in her husband's death. I don't think she did. I don't see that. Again, possible, but I don't think she did. I think she embarked on a relationship, decided that she wanted to be with her husband, and Miss Jealous Joan convinced this. I mean, it takes some convincing. If I was to get a boyfriend and he was to say to me, "Oh my God, my boss is so evil, can you go kill them?" I'd be like, no. So, there you go. There is another episode for you guys. Do you think Betty had a hand in her husband's death? Let me know in the comments. Poor Goldine got roped in. I mean, she pulled the trigger. She deserved to go to prison. I just find all this homosexuality, and we had it with the Papin sisters, which I won't say too much because I don't know if you've seen that episode yet or if I've released it yet, because obviously I'm pre-recording these. And yeah, but again, that they were saying about, I mean, that they were sisters and they thought that they were incestuous, which is a whole different issue. But yeah, they were not insane. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Do let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I love to interact with you guys, as you well know. And yeah, I've got some more coming up, some more very gruesome ones, very, very sad cases. And yeah, I shall see you soon. Stay safe out there. Bye.